Down to the entry of Mark Watson, his actual name. And this will be the sum total of my contribution. I'm going to go to the pub and get drunk, go home to bed. 10, 9, 8, this is 4 seconds are going too fast. I can already hear. Oh, poor old beans.
As you'll know, if you've been before, traditionally I've always been brought on by namesake Tim Key, but Tim Key is unfortunately lashed at the wedding. He was meant to come, he still is going to come, but he'll turn up in about 6 hours, lashed. So he's been relieved of his duties. I've agreed with Key that he still is going to bring me on for the start of the show, it's just it won't be at the start of the show. So that's the first thing you have to look forward to, another start to the show, done by the original man, Tim Key. But that was Mitch did that very nicely actually, and the only thing with counting it down is when Key used to do it, he would often ramble on for 2 or 3 minutes, and that was time I didn't have to fill. Because of Mitch's mathematically minded way of doing it, I'm straight in now with 27 hours to play with. Welcome, we have quite yeah, it'll be absolutely fine. If I didn't think I was capable of doing comedy for 27 hours, then I would have made a series of enormous strategic errors in I've gone on record as saying I'm going to do it. Compared with last time, though, there were a lot more people. Who was here last time? It was what we call a fuck fest. By the way, this is all streamed live and everything. We'll come to that in a minute. So you remember how much of I hate to keep using the phrase fuck fest, but it really was. By that I mean an enormous outpouring of chaos. I would say that the fuck fest factor here has been ratcheted up tenfold. The number of things happening in this room, you'll have seen quite a lot of them. Some of them aren't even in this room, some of them are in the lobby, there's a dog here. Quite a lot of the people that are here doing things I don't even know what they're doing or who they are. I mean, this is already on the verge of being complete pandemonium. It has barely even started yet. Oh God, so much to tell you about. So there are quite a lot of people doing challenges which you probably need to know about because your job will be to encourage them. Well, all of us here have our own individual challenge, which is to do this and not die. And it will be fine. You'll know who's ever been to one of these long shows before. Even if, there we go. There's one man here who's been to all of them. We'll come on to him. It's a psychological problem. A lot of things are going to happen, but a couple of things have started. So already you'll be aware of a sort of distracting whirring sound in the conversation. That's because this man. I may as well start you with this. This wasn't where I was going to start, but the whirring needs to be addressed. This man here, Robert Wells, is quite literally churning butter for 27 hours. The churn is that size and it just makes this noise, but it's been 3 minutes and I'm pissed off with it. I can only imagine that Robert probably is as well. But this is the situation we're both in. And to be fair to Robert, he gave me a choice as well. He said, he emailed saying, I've got various ideas, not sure any of them are that good. This one, they're all quite promising. But almost as a throwaway, he said, oh, I suppose I could just churn butter. And I emailed back saying, that sounds great, what is involved in butter churning? And Robert said, quite simply, admin and cream. The admin's been done, as you can see. The cream was delivered. He's got, and it's not a phrase that either of us has ever had cause to use until this week, but we found a cream sponsor who is a man, because this is true, isn't it? A man called John Lewis, like the shop John Lewis, but the man of that. So earlier today, a man called John Lewis left a hell of a lot of cream at this event. This is the sort of thing that's going to happen. Robert's going to make it into butter. Like everyone here, he's being sponsored. I'm going to say now, for the first of many, many times, this whole event is being sponsored. I'm being sponsored to do it. Virtually all the participants are being sponsored. And the aim is... last time I was quite gentle about this, but you might remember that for periods of up to 10 hours, I forgot to mention the sponsorship. Absolutely not going to happen this time. We raised more than 70 grand last time, but who knows how much we'd have raised if we'd ever mentioned the idea of donating. Quite likely considerably more. Mathematicians think there probably is a causal link between me saying please donate and people doing that. So I'm going to be doing that almost too much this time. I'm making no apologies this time for the fact that the object of this exercise really is to screw a remarkable amount of money out of people. And by screw I mean, I was going to put that more nicely, but that's what it is. But to be fair, a lot of people do sponsor things for common relief, and this is going to be one of the most arduous. So we'll come on to ways that we can encourage people to do that later. I've got various kind of targets of rich people that I hope to hit. You might remember Zach Braff. You might well remember Zach Braff. Sort of a divisive. If you weren't here last time, we spent about 14 hours out trying to lure Zach Braff to the venue. A task which proved beyond us, but we did get a video message out of him. I mean, in other news, Jonathan Ross ended up accidentally giving us 12 grand because Rufus Hand smashed an eggs with his cock last time. I suppose the point I was starting to make there is, it's surprising how much money you can get if you create certain chaotic conditions. This time I'm going all out to create those conditions from the outset. So shortly I'll be talking to you about, this is how time gets away from you though, you see. I haven't even finished the sponsorship talk and already, I don't know what the time is, but periodically information will come up on that screen, including a target. And also a tally. I don't know if we've got a tally yet, but there we go. But even there you can see we're getting through it. So I've done 5 minutes. So this is what we're... If you keep doing that, that will soak up some time. That's the total so far. That's just what's been raised by ticket sales and by people pledging money to people like this man. This guy, there he is, just with his buttered churn, an idiot. But he's helped to raise 20. He's also put a time-lapse camera in so that we can, at the end, we can see a really moving time-lapse. Don't worry about the end. The end is none of your business at this point. If you start thinking about your life beyond this show, then you're fucked. He's also done, Robert's done all sorts of things. He's also done a thing called, is it a visualizer, where you can it's like a map of all the people that have used the hashtag, always ever. This is a lot more technologically savvy this time, the show. For example, a lot of the tech works this time. That's another little improvement we've made to the setup. That's not an insult to the technicians, it's just the... there we go. There we go. This sort of weird-looking thing is like a map of all the people that are using the hashtag Watson27. We want to get as many people doing that as possible because we believe, falsely, that will lead to more money. So, good old Twitter, it's declining, but it could still be useful to us tonight. That sort of cancerous thing, I think, is me. Because the most tweets about it come from me, then from people in my... Anyway, to be honest, I have no fucking clue what that thing is, but I think it's quite cool. If we can go back to that tally, by the way, I should introduce you... yeah, there we go. So, it hasn't crowded up. But if anything, it's not got any less since the last time we checked. In a way, that is good. That is quite a lot. But the target, well, last time, as I said, we raised 70. I don't know what the exact sum was, but about 72 grand. So the dream is to beat that, to get beyond. I keep looking and thinking, am I just like God? So if we take the last 2 or 3 minutes as an example, we're raising no pounds a minute. So we need to just slightly. We need to build on that a little bit. There are 2 main ways that we would drive this total forward. Firstly, by sponsorship incrementing more and more as people see. The live stream has a thing on it that says donate, and you can just click, and before you know it, in fact, almost creepily quickly, £5 has gone from your life into ours. And if you're watching online, please do that straight away. By the way, don't even worry about any of the implications. Just do it. Probably quite a lot of people are watching online. It's always worth me remembering that, because I will say some dreadful things over the course of this evening. Also. I will occasionally use phrases like over the course of the evening, which will give you false hope. This is a lot more than the evening. If this was a mere evening, we would already nearly be done. Just to make it absolutely clear, this is an evening, then a night, a morning, and then all the stuff you get in a day all over again. This is really long. These shows are, I'm off the stage as well. That's good. Sometimes I'll walk off the stage like that and it'll be a bit of a shame, but then in 10 hours' time that'll be much more of a shame, so I would potentially not be able to get back up there. So, if you're watching online, which hopefully quite a lot of people are, interact with us, ask us to do things, pledge money if the audience can do X, Y, Z. We'll find ways to do them, especially if you're watching online and you are loaded, e.g. Branson. Then do things like, I'll give you 100 grand if you, well, whatever it is. We're basically set up in this room to accomplish most things that can be done for money. Occasionally we'll get, I guess it's pretty dangerous to say that, but there's very little I wouldn't sanction, I think. So I've got a list of about 40 bits of admin just in terms of setting things up, and we've just done the butter churn so far. there's already. I'm starting to worry that we might not get everything done in the 27 hours. But I'll try and be a little bit brisker over this next bit. These men at the back here. I should probably mention him. This man's challenge is pretty much self-explanatory. He will be sleeping for the whole show. I know, a little bit of laughter there, and then a sense of envy in there. His name is Bradley, and that's all you need to know about him, really. He'll be doing that. Even when not asleep, he'll be simulating. So I don't know what happens when he weaves. I don't even want to know for the time being. Behind him, this sort of bank of already pale-looking men are from left to right, as you look at it, Rob, Adam and Giles, everyone. They are the tech at the heart of the show. Giles does all my shows with me, and you might remember him from 2 years ago. Giles has outsourced some of the sort of cleverness to Rob. Hess, actually, between them, isn't doing anything. He's there. I remember Adam from last time. He's doing tweeting, but he's basically. It looks as if he's doing an equal amount of tech work to the other two. But in fact, the other two are doing nearly everything. Hess is you're just basically there, aren't you? Oh yeah, Hess is learning pi to 40 decimal places. 400. By 40, I mean 400. Which, are you sure you can do that? 400. No, but he's not sure he can do it. There we are. So make sure you hit that donate button at home, because you're in for a magical mystery tour tonight. But actually, he's not the only one taking on a challenge which may be impossible, as you'll hear. It's probably about time I mentioned Kennedy. Oh. Remember Kennedy? Emma Kennedy. We've done that deliberately because you piped up too much last time. It'll work eventually, yeah. Yeah, I said, of course I'm not in control. I'm better in control of my bit, let alone the...
there we go. There we go. I have got admin for the audience.
Just to very quickly set the scene, Kennedy. Kennedy did the whole 25 hours last time in a tent. As you'll have seen, she's upgraded her conditions substantially this time. After negotiation, she's got a corner now, but she's also got this man, a gimp. I'll describe his duties to you in a minute.
There we are, it's on. Yes, this is Hugh the Gimp. Please treat him as general slave to the audience. If you need anything done, ask Hugh the Gimp.
As I say, Kennedy's approach is very different this time. She's developed a sense of entitlement since that time. So Hugh is being sponsored to do basically anything that isn't covered, but anything that needs doing, any sort of menial task. I mean, Hugh's going to have a dreadful time in common with a lot of people here, but at least he's being sponsored deliberately to have a dreadful time. Now, Kennedy's role, you might remember last time, she enticed quite a lot of famous and/or weird people to the place. She only started doing that kind of spontaneously. So when we were planning this show, we wanted to work out how she could still do that without making it into a sort of your standard comic relief telethon type thing, because it basically still has to be me flailing hopelessly against my fate. So the conclusion we came to is that Kennedy's arranged over the forthcoming 27 hours quite a number of guest surprises.
Well, the challenge is I have to bring 27 celebrities to the venue.
But I don't know any of them. There is a schedule for them, but I don't know who they are. I don't know anything.
He knows nothing. Now listen, this is quite important. Some of them are ridiculously famous. I have pre-arranged with some people are ridiculously famous. And some people you might not know so well, but I want you to treat them all the same. Okay?
But you won't be able to do that.
If someone comes out and I go, look, it's blah blah from blah blah, I want you to go fucking mental. Okay?
Yeah, if it's Hollyoaks and above, you go mental.
Yeah. But we've also got the trophy corner, which people who are watching online need to know about, and also member of the audience.
So this trophy corner here is a thing. If you're online, you can. Every time I look back, I remember there are quite a few people already suffering, and they haven't.
These are real. These are all real. This Emma fucking Thompson's Oscar.
I think she just goes by Emma Thompson, actually.
We've got Matthew Pinsent's Olympic medals.
There's like about 1 million quid worth of stuff on that table as well, basically. So the plan is, if you're watching online, or indeed if you're here, you can pay to sort of come and be photographed with one of those things.
Come
and
to the venue.
At the end of the show, we're going to melt them down and sell them.
But it's crucial for people watching at home to know that even if you have not got a ticket, you can come to the venue and pick any one of these, or as many as you like. Give us a £5, you'll have your photograph taken in front of the 27, and we will treat you like a god.
Also, it is worth saying, this room will essentially never reach full capacity because as fast as people can arrive, other people will leave voluntarily or be forced to leave or die. So if you're watching online, they had to cap the ticket sales at a particular number because of health and safety, but that doesn't mean there isn't room. So people, if you're watching and you think, oh, I wouldn't mind going to that in 17 hours, you should. But bear in mind, the room will smell very bad by then. But I'm saying this partly because it is fun to have people from the outside world coming into the show. You remember from last time, they have a very peculiar experience because within a few hours this will no longer be recognisable as part of civilization. So if you're watching tonight, by all means donate, but also come down here. As the show goes on, we'll make appeals for things that we want to be brought. You can set us challenges. Just come to the show.
I have one more request. In fact, sorry, 2 requests of the audience. I need 1 volunteer, and I need you to be someone who is good at puzzles or setting puzzles. So if we got any, yes, you at the back. Come up to my corner, please. I'm not telling anyone else what this is about.
I don't know what
it's going to be a surprise.
I've signed away some of my power.
Massive surprise. So you go over there and we'll have a chat. No, you don't know either. And the other thing is Hugh the Gimp will pass amongst you some pieces of paper, and I would like you to write down a personal problem that you might need solving at around 7:30 in the morning. Okay, I'll say no more. That's it. We'll wait for some news to come in.
Last time, Kennedy would crawl out of a tent and blearily say, I have news, when someone like Krishnan Guru Murthy was coming down, which apparently he did, but I was on my knees eating lasagna at the time, so I don't know. So this time it's basically, again, the same procedure, but Kennedy's already problems, the puzzle solver has broken something. Kennedy's basically, she's now even got a sign that says, I have news. She's got stuff, she's got branded stuff. She's got a sign that says another celebrity, which she will probably wave at you if it's like someone that you need to be excited about, but it's not that good. It's probably worth saying at this point, though, what she said about getting overexcited and cheering and clapping everyone is quite a good watchword for the whole show, because if the energy drops in this room, we'll all feel it. And of course, there will be some times when you don't feel happy at all and you're not enjoying yourselves. I'm going to leave it for a while before putting the tally up again, because if it still hasn't gone up at all, we'll all feel dispirited. Although, see, quite a lot of money is going to come from the ongoing sponsorship challenges, especially when people see what they are, because some of them are amazing. But I just haven't gone to it yet, really. So now you know roughly what's going to happen with Kennedy. Hugh, I mean, the phrase gimp is sort of perhaps it's taken on sexual connotations in recent years. Don't look at it like that. In fact, probably it's best, if anything, if the requests are non-sexual. Pretty soon we'll get Hugh doing something, but it won't be that sort of a thing. So I think lackey is a better word, maybe. I think it was actually Kennedy that made it into. What's your name, mate? Patrick. Oh, of course it is. Hi, Patrick. It's my brother. No, not really, that's a joke. It's nice to just crack through a couple of jokes early doors, isn't it? I've got a good one about the war as well. Okay. So basically, I remain in charge of the show, but Kennedy does all sorts of things whose significance I'm not immediately aware of. That's the rough plan. To introduce you to another challenger. These people I should have dignified with introduction earlier, really. If you can't see them that well, but if you squint up to the balcony there, you'll see that alarmingly, where there appears to just be empty space, there are 2 men in a bath. What, just a nice normal bath? No, a bath of something. Or not beans? Yes, beans. I've got a nasty feeling it's connected with the beans in some way. But it's a fairly spacious, comfortable bath, right? No, it's not big enough for 2 people. Right, but they saw the bath, they knew that. No, it was the only one we could get. So, Nick and Alex, how are you?
All right.
And that is as good as it's going to get from them. Just to give it some context, is it you a headmaster, or is it a teacher?
Oh, lowly teacher.
Nick is a lowly teacher, so he's being sponsored. He's on about 800 quid of sponsorship, just because from a kid's point of view, this is ideal. You can't see them, but you will occasionally send people up there to sort of connect with them in a slightly more human way than the beans are capable of doing. But the gist of it with them is they're wearing wetsuits with their actual suits over the top of them. Which would be bad enough if you just walked around like that, but they've got horrible, shitty old beans all over them. To give you an idea of how much they're looking forward to the 26 hours in front of them, I poured the first can of beans in. We've got a photo of that which we'll put up. And even when I did that, Alex immediately shouted, "Fuck!" And that's 1 second in one can of beans. So there are definitely some worries about them. What are your initial impressions of sort of time spent in beans?
Can I just say, if anyone wants to pour beans on them, surely they have to pay money for the pleasure.
Well, yeah,
surely.
We've got
£1 a pour.
I mean, Kennedy really is quite sort of mercenary about this. Tracy's like £1 a pour.
Audience, you can come and have your photograph taken with Emma Thompson's Oscar. I mean, obviously I will charge you, but you can come and do that. Although my MasterChef trophy is there, which technically amongst those is the rarest of the lot. Because only 22 people have one. But, you know, there's a pride of Britain, for Pete's sake. There's an OBE on there, there's Blue Peter badge. We're hoping to get a Cracker Jack pencil later.
What is OBE, is it?
Emma Freud, obviously.
Of course it is, of course it is.
Who is current... No, we shouldn't say what's happening to her right now. But she's poorly, she's poorly.
It's not well, we know that much. But, I mean, no one that is talking about being ill or tired is going to get my sympathy. Oh, boo. I mean, these guys are in beans, and that's where they're going to stay. They've got boiler suits, so they can go for a wee. They can put them on. They're not going to, hopefully, not going to do it in the boiler suits. But basically, there was concern that it was going to, the beans would start to smell too much under the light. Concerns which I think are well-founded, because I visited them after about 10 minutes, and it already was horrible up there. How are the atmospheric conditions up there?
It's like a spot between white feet and white feet.
Sorry?
Fucking horrible.
Oh, yeah, okay. I think he said there's like a funk or a fug, but then anyway, it's definitely fucking horrible. There'll be a lot of swearing, by the way, obviously, which if you're watching on the live stream and it's the sort of thing where your kids are watching...
Our kids will be watching.
Good. But your school's in Tottenham. We have very little to fear in terms of those people's sensibilities. Nonetheless, it is the case that... Yes, you're right. There's quite a lot of challenges which need to be set up because it is the first hour. And so those people got into the bath of beans 1 hour before the show started. So 1 hour before it finishes, they will emerge. In a sense triumphant, except that none of us will want anything to do with them. There's going to be real mixed feelings for them. It'll be a terrific achievement, but we will hopefully be able to just like clear them out of the way. If you're watching, Bath of Beans is a challenge. There's various challenges which require setting up quite quickly, and one of them is, where's Matthew? This man at the back here, Matthew, yeah, come down, Matthew. Matthew's challenge, essentially during the last show, as this show, a number of lots were auctioned for comic relief. One of them was a year's supply of Nando's. Matthew, by his own admission, bid on it thinking that other people would bid. As we know in auctions, this is a dangerous game. No one else did bid on it. Matthew was landed with an enormous amount of Nando's chicken. But it didn't come in the form of just loads of Nando's, but in vouchers for 2, is that right?
Meal for 2 vouchers.
Meal for 2 vouchers. You might gather from his accent, Matthew's from Northern Ireland. He's come over from Northern Ireland to do this. To do what exactly? Well, basically, yeah, that's... I don't know whether it's patronising to clap that or not. I mean, these days you can fly from Northern Ireland. But, and he did, so there's the proof of it. So Matthew's sort of predicament in life is he's lumbered with an awful lot of potential dates, but they have to be at Nando's. So over the course of this show, Matthew is going to take as many people as he can to Nando's. Not really because he wants to, because he has to. There are obvious problems. Well, there are quite significant problems with this. Firstly, you shouldn't eat Nando's that much at all. You definitely shouldn't eat it for... Oh, are they one of our sponsors? Anyway, you probably shouldn't. Like, Nando's is fine, but it's not something you'd want to visit, say, 20 times in a day. Also, I don't know where the nearest... Do you know, have we worked out where the nearest Nando's is?
There's 1.5 miles.
There's one of... Is it King's Cross?
I think so.
I can't think of a lovelier spot. So, we need somebody to go on the first date with Matthew. As I say, it's a date with certain caveats attached. On the plus side, you won't be paying for anything. And this should be a lesson to you if you're thinking about bidding frivolously on something. We're going to shortly start auctioning all kinds of stuff, not just for the people in the room, but for the people at home. But bear in mind, if you buy it, you've got it then. And in 2 years' time, you might be taking someone to Garfunkel's, for example. I'm saying, I'm just guessing that the auction lots have got glitzier since last time. In common with most other stuff, I don't know what we're auctioning until I get given it. I've been asked to have as little information as possible. I myself have asked that. So, we haven't lined up anyone in advance, have we? We actually do need to find people. And also, at some point, Nando's will shut, and we're going to need to get a big takeout order so that you can continue the Nando's dates just in the lobby, in a sort of localised Nando's which we'll set up. I don't know if Nando's sort of franchises it out to people that just like write Nando's on a piece of paper. That's essentially what we're going to be doing. But there's got to be time for at least a couple of actual Nando's days.
It closes at 11.
They close at 11. Yeah, there we go. I mean, they might want to rethink that because we're here for a long time. So, well, at least it'll be a chance for. Do you even like Nando's? Or?
Well, I've eaten it for a year.
So. There we go. Well, I mean, he's not dead, is he? What would you say is the best dish on the menu, given that you've had a year to sort of...
Chicken butterfly.
The chicken butterfly. It sounds... Okay, so does anyone fancy this? If anyone is hungry, has come here hungry, I mean, it doesn't... I guess ideally it's girls, is it? Or not? It doesn't really matter. We'll go for a mix. Very quickly, how would you describe your qualities as a sort of date, Matthew, like, or just as a dinner? Are you good?
I'm a good conversationalist.
He's a good conversationalist. So if you like a chat and you'd like to eat some budget chicken, but like not real budget, it's not KFC, is it? It's all right. It's all right. Obviously, this is with. I'll put this into the audience first. If anyone's watching online, but it actually needs to be soon, doesn't it? Someone needs to come soon and go to Nando's with Matthew. There we go, that's the spirit. Right, there we go. And that's how it's going to have to be. Whether you want to go to Nando's or not, nearly every last motherfucking one of you is going. If you're in any doubt about that, then lose that doubt now. Good, so this is Joe. Joe and Matthew will now go to Nando's, fulfilling the first part of Matthew's Nando's sponsorship. I should let you know, as a matter of due diligence, that Comic Relief have raised health and safety concerns about various of the challenges. And, this was one of the ones. Yeah, well, we absolutely ignored them. Yeah, I've spent weeks in meetings saying, yeah, no, we will look into that. But very little has been looked into. Quite a number of unsafe things are being attempted. But the email about this challenge. I'm not sure if I ought to be saying this or not. Anyway, basically, they were worried about whether Matthew was a fine person to send them off with. Not because they know anything about Matthew, just because it was hard for Comic Relief to sanction a challenge where a complete stranger took another complete stranger off to a chicken establishment. So this first challenge will be a real litmus test, I think. I think the dream is that Matthew successfully takes Joe to Nando's, they eat in Nando's, and both of them return to the venue. If any of those things don't happen, then we've got to rethink the remaining 25 hours of the challenge. If it turns out that Matthew, if anything goes wrong, then it's going to be a harder sell to get someone to do the midnight stint. But yeah, I suppose this is the only one that will happen in Nando's until morning. Do you know when they, Clever Clogs, when do they open?
1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I think.
12 to, okay, so there's going to be a substantial portion of the evening where you're doing Nando's dates here, but that still leaves you with another 12 hours of Nando's dates in the real Nando's. Well, I think if you couldn't, yeah, I reckon if you bring a load of Nando's stuff back, then we'll just set up our own sort of Nando's for Matthew to get through those lonely Nando's hours in the week. Which means that some of you will get away with just eating with Matthew in the foyer, which would not be as arduous. But for Joe, an uncertain fate awaits. Well, you better get cracking. Matthew and Joe are off to Nando's, everyone.